I know, it's been a while, but we're back. We have been on a break since last week, but we are back with some beautiful videos here on this channel. So if you want to see more videos, then please like and subscribe and let me know what you want to see on this channel, as we are upgrading our car once again, just ahead of the Spanish Grand Prix, of course. We only have 1.3k points at the moment to upgrade our car, so we are looking to see what we can upgrade as well. But yeah, as I said, we have been on a break for the last week. That was pure because I was busy with school, um, so I didn't have time to make any videos. But now we are back and we are here for the Spanish Grand Prix and of course this Sunday the Monaco Grand Prix. As you can see right now, you can see we are making really big upgrades. We are now equal to Ferrari, only not better than McLaren and Mercedes. Alright, so here in qualifying we go then. But of course, as we are now the fourth best car on the grid, we still have a super close grid, as the gap between P1 and P15 is usually only half a second or less. Sometimes it's a little bit more, but yeah, it doesn't really matter if you're the sixth best car or the best car. You can still go out in Q2. So let's hope that doesn't happen to us in today's episode, as we are doing a flying lap here. It's just a banker lap. As you can see, we are running wide here through these turns, passing Fernando Alonso as well. And as we finish this lap, we go on to the start-finish straight, and it's a 1:18.5, still a second off Verstappen, so a long way to go. But we of course go out at the end of the session, and as we had a few times last season, we have it once again. Someone is right behind us as we want to start our lap, so we are defending from Tsunoda as we want to set our fastest lap and go through to qualifying Q. Not Q. As you can see, we are only in P19, so that's not good enough to get ourselves up into the top 16, as we are with 22 drivers. You can see now 6/10 improvement, which is really great, but still only 1/10 faster than Magnussen, so we have a long way to go. Maybe we can gain some time here in the third sector, as the qualifying is now over. We have a 1 second gain compared to our bank lap. Is it enough? I think it is. So as you can see right now, it's P9 and we are through to qualifying 2. And with P9, I think we should be able to get into qualifying 3, as we are here coming on to the start finish straight for our first lap in Q2.
I'll put it simple. If you're going hard enough left, you'll find yourself turning right.
So that was our first flying lap. So we don't have a great time on the board. As you can see, we are now improving 1.5 tenths. Of course, I did a second lap on those first tires, but as you can see, we did not manage to get a great lap in. As qualifying is complete and we are improving once again with 0.6 of a second. We are still in P16, so last in this qualifying session, as we are trying to improve as much as we can. Verstappen and Perez, Hamilton and Sainz are in front of us. And where do we finish this qualifying session? It's P16. Alright, so that's qualifying over first. Let's see where our teammates qualified. He's in P12, so nobody is through to Q3, sorry. So it's going to be a tough one. I think we should be able to get some points in the race, but that is for the race, of course.
The Spanish Grand Prix has been a permanent fixture on the Formula One calendar for over 30 years now, and for good reason. Do you remember Michael Schumacher's absolute dominance here in that rain-soaked Grand Prix in 1996? That day he took his first ever victory for Ferrari, and we've had many more iconic moments since. It's a sellout crowd of 140,000 here today as we await lights out for the 730-metre sprint down into Turn 1. This is a 2.9-mile racetrack. Overtaking is challenging through the 16 corners, but there's still a lot of high-speed excitement to be found, including the flat-out Turn 3 and the terrifying blind right of Turn 9. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today as he starts in pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Verstappen, Ricciardo, and Sir Lewis Hamilton, and Perez, Sainz, Russell, Fernando Alonso, and Esteban Ocon, Magnussen, Button, Lando Norris, and Gasly, Joe, the engineer, Alex Albon, and Mick Schumacher, Schwartzman, Tsunoda, Stroll, and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. And with me today, of course, is Natalie Pinkham. Can we talk about Mercedes? We've had a significant regulation change for this season, but from what we can gather at this early stage, it seems they've had some trouble adapting their car.
It doesn't look promising for them so far. And if the new regs have hit them as hard as we think, well, I suspect they may need a few late nights at the factory to get back on track.
It's Sunday, it's race day, let's go. It's 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights on, and as the lights are out, away we go. We are used to getting a bad start, so I don't really think that we are going to make up a lot of positions here at the start of this Grand Prix. As you can see, we go down the inside to try and overtake somebody. But as you can see, we are struggling to get past Robert Schwartzman, of course, who is since Season 2 in the Alfa Romeo. So that is a new one since Season 2. Together with Norris. So if you haven't seen any episodes of this season, then go check those out. The playlist is in the description. As we go down the inside of Schumacher and Albon, they are now fighting for P17. And we are once again in our own position. So let's just try to make up some positions now, as the other drivers are on softs, or the most of them are. And Gasly is going into the pits. He has some damage, so I don't think we will be seeing him anytime soon. And that promotes us up into P15 then. We are now really close behind Norris in lap 2. Of course, we were already close behind him, but we tried to go around the outside. He has damage, you can see that on his front wing. He misses an end plate, so he's going into the pits as well. Also, I think maybe he's staying out and repairing the damage during his normal pit stop time. As you can see, Perez is holding up Magnussen and Zoe, and he's also going into the pit. So a lot of people with damage in this first 2 laps. So yeah, as those damaged cars went into the pits, we are now in P13 in only lap 6. And we are really close behind Magnussen and Zhou, the 2 Haas drivers, as Mick Schumacher has gone to Aston Martin. But of course he had damage as well, so he is also not close to us at all. You can see the guys in front are on the soft tire, so they will be going onto the hards earlier than we are. Our strategy is as usual medium hards, and for some of the guys it's soft hards. So hopefully with the hards being newer, as we go down the inside of Guan Yu Zhou, he locked up. Let's see what happened there then. Or actually no, we don't get a replay of that, sorry. So locked up, and myself and Magnussen made the best of it and overtook him. Of course, he's now close behind us, but with the help of the DRS from Magnussen, we should be able to keep our car in front of his. So yeah, we are now behind Magnussen in lap 10. We are 1/3 of the way to the finish line already. In P12, and you can see Ocon is 3 seconds ahead, so we might get some points if we are faster in clear air. This was the hardest corner in the entire track, or so it was with the setup that I used. As Button is coming into the pits, you can see here into the pits Button goes, and he's one of the first drivers to go into the pits as we run wide through those corners. And also now both the Haas drivers have pit, so we are in P10 behind Ocon and Alonso. And you can see actually that the gap is growing and shrinking from lap to lap. So we need to push as hard as we can, as now the leaders are into the pits as well. It's Verstappen and Leclerc into the pits, going onto the hard tires. And now is also time for us to go into the pits. As you can see, we almost lost our front right tire coming into the pits as those walls appear out of nowhere. And it's not only for us a pit stop, it's for everybody, of course, who started on those medium tires. As I'm hoping for a perfect stop, something that didn't happen in Miami. Well, we really needed it. If we had a perfect stop, then we could have been ahead of Magnussen at the end of the Grand Prix. But you can see this time we are. And we are actually in P10, so we gained compared to a few drivers, and that gave us that final point paying position. So I'm happy with that, as Alonso and Button are now in front of us. As are the both of the Ferraris and a Mercedes. But they are a little bit further up ahead. You can see the gap is 4 seconds. But they are battling and they are in a sprint, so they should lose some time if I'm fast enough. Now in lap 19, then still 4 seconds to the cars behind, cars in front. And it's Magnussen who's getting really close to me actually. I don't know why, but my pace is not that good here in Spain. But as we come to the end of lap 22, the gap is over 1 second once again with Magnussen, and the gap to Button is finally shrinking. It's great to see my teammate into the in the points as well, as we are shrinking that gap even more to only less than 2 seconds. Hopefully we can get... Oh, it's the fastest lap as well. Thank you very much for that one. I wanted to say hopefully we can get into the DRS as soon as possible, as we are now inside that 1 second gap. You can see the Ferrari drivers have driven away from these Alpines and of course ourselves. So I think the maximum that we could get as a team is P7 and P8 if we are able to overtake, of course, Button, Alonso and Ocon. So it's still a long way to go, but we are in the dying laps of this Grand Prix. Is a yellow flag, is it behind us or in front? I think that's a Haas behind, and it's Magnussen who's out of this race. He wasn't in the points, but still, you can see here his engine is blowing up, which is not great, because if your engine is blowing up, then you are not getting any points. So yeah, as you can see, we are really close behind Button in the lap after Magnussen had his DNF, and we are using all our ERS, the DRS and slipstream as we go down the inside of our own teammate. We push him a bit wide. He corrects the car even though it wasn't that necessary, and he has already lost quite a gap, as you can see. And now we are in P9 trying to fight for P7, of course, with the two Alpines in front of us. And my teammate has actually fallen back quite a bit, as he's now outside of 1 second gap to me. So hopefully Russell doesn't overtake him, as we are entering lap 31 and trying to overtake Alonso. 7/10 is the gap between us, and I'm putting in once again a really fast lap. You can see both the Alpines are fighting for P7. I don't think that's the best they can do, as we are now overtaking Alonso. We have contact with him. That's because I ran wide, but you can see we are now up into P8. I was happy with that as I shaked the steering wheel a little bit. Of course, I was inside. I was in the corner, so I couldn't really do it. As we are now coming on to the penultimate lap, as we are now not on the penultimate lap, but in the last lap, as you can see, trying to go down on the inside of Ocon. He goes defensive as we go for a outside line, and we overtake him around the outside. I think there was contact, but we are in front of him, and now it's only one thing that we can do to gain those points, is actually to finish the race. But as you look at the minimap, you can see Russell is ahead of my teammate Jensen Button, which is quite sad because he was doing really great as Max Verstappen sets the fastest lap of the race, and wins the race as well. You can see us now coming through the final corner here in Spain, and as we cross the line, we finish the race in P7, which is a total of 8 points that we get for the championship.
Red Bull pulling out all the stops today. What a great win. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves.
It's Max Verstappen who wins the race, and Daniel Ricciardo actually in P2, with Hamilton finishing off the podium positions. So Red Bull wins the race. It's nothing new, of course. And we finish in P7 and P11, so we also get a few points, or still a good amount, of course. And as we are looking now at the standings, or the race standings, not the championship, we will look at that in a moment. But we finished 15 seconds behind Max Verstappen, and we only get 6 points. I calculated it wrong, sorry for that one. But it's still a few points, of course, to get, as we are now looking at the standings. We are in P11 in the driver standings, and in P6 for the constructors. We have gained a few points on Haas, and there's still a long way to go to Alpine and McLaren. I don't think McLaren is possible, as they are a really strong team, but maybe Alpine we could get, as we have a few good races after this one. But that is it, guys. If you haven't subscribed yet, then please do, and also like this video, and then I will see you in the Monaco Grand Prix. Let's go!